morning. Happy Tuesday. Cheers to you while I'm having my liquid breakfast. You've heard of a liquid lunch, right? This is a liquid breakfast. Slurp, slurp. Mmm. Mm. Last week, I was away at a convention and I listened to lots of speakers, and there was an amazing amount of really good stuff, which eventually I'm going to show you as well. But the thing that got me the most was the question of value. So value is something that we think about all the time, but we don't really think about it, if you see what I mean. And we undervalue ourselves and we overvalue other things, and we get confused about what is what. And it's very interesting because my husband and I have got hooked on a TV show. I have to confess, we occasionally binge watch episodes on Netflix. And last night, coincidentally, there was an episode that touched on value in a very interesting and rather disturbing way. But nonetheless, the point remained. And this relates back to something that I read years ago in my studies. I've been studying a very long time. And what I learned years ago was that a person is as valuable as the contribution he can make or she can make to their community, right? Or their organization or their family or their country or their planet or whatever it is. So a person is as valuable as the contribution that they can make. In other words, the more good you can do in the world, the more value you have. And this was reflected in the TV show that I was watching last night, because there was an evil man who would actually do mathematical equations to figure out who deserved to live and who deserved to die. So if you were the head of an amazing organization employing hundreds and thousands of people and ripping everybody off and being nasty and accidentally killing somebody and killing someone else to cover it up, your value is nothing in relation to a girl who worked for a charitable organization who put all her time, effort, and energy into doing something good for people. So he would kill one in order to protect the other, which is not what I'm suggesting at all. But let's look at how much value we have. So to give you some perspective on value, here's a picture that was actually used in the talk that I went to last week. This is a bar of iron. A bar of iron is worth $5 as it is. If you make it into horseshoes, which have more value, it's worth $12. If you make it into needles, which can sew things, it becomes worth $3,500. And if you make it into watch balance springs, it can be as valuable as $300,000. So what are you? Are you a bar of iron? Could you be a horseshoe? Could you be a needle? Could you become watch balance springs? I don't exactly know what that means, but obviously teeny weeny weeny weeny. So you get a lot of them out of an iron bar. So a bar of iron, $5, watch springs, $300,000 that were made from the bar, which is worth $5. So it's the same bar. If it's a horseshoe or a needle or sitting in a storeroom somewhere waiting to be turned into something, or watch springs, it's the same iron. The question is, what is it going to turn into? All my life, I've been the same Andrea, but what did I turn into? How much value am I creating? How valuable am I in relation to the contribution that I am making to my community or to my family or my church or my neighborhood or the organizations that I support or the people that I coach? How much value am I giving them? I've got some notes here. So value isn't always money, right? Obviously. my value is reflected in how much money I earn to some degree. But when I contribute something to my daughter's school or I help a neighbor out, that's got nothing to do with money, but it does increase my value. Take the example from the TV show last night, the girl who worked for the charity, she could be broke. The multimillionaire who was running the business, even though he was employing a lot of people which had value, he had no qualms about murdering somebody in order to cover something up, right? Which actually, arguably, was an accident, but he should have taken responsibility for it. So the fact that he didn't and was willing to have other people die negated the value of the fact that he was employing all these people in this multi-million-dollar organization. So it's not only about money. Value isn't just money. But one of the interesting things, I'm looking down at my notes here, that came up in the talk, in the training that I went to last week, was the flow of energy that goes with value, right? So if I help out at my daughter's school or I help my neighbor out doing something, there's a flow of value because something will come back to me somewhere. It doesn't necessarily come from the same place. Right? But I might find that my neighbor then helps me with something, or that in some way I might get a client through my daughter's school because of something somebody said to somebody, right? There's a flow. The universe likes to be in exchange, and there's always an exchange for something, and it's not always money. In business, we tend to think just about money. So the suggestion that was made in this training last week was that if you're not making enough money, put something out, exchange something with the world, with the universe, do something good for somebody, not necessarily something that's going to get you paid, but do something good. Because where you do something good, you create goodwill. And where you create goodwill, you have value. The more goodwill there is with you in your community, in your environment, the more value you have, right? And as a person of value, people will talk to you, they'll ask you things, they'll refer people to you. And once you've got referrals, money will flow to you, right? You might have heard of Zig Ziglar. I think it was him who very famously said that you can have anything you want in life by helping other people get what they want in life. Now, when I first started working in an MLM business, I thought he was just talking about being in an MLM. You know, you can get up the pay scale or up the promotion ladder in your multi-level marketing business by helping other people get up the ladder in the multi-level marketing business that you're in. But I've found since then that it relates to way, way more in business and in life actually than just a multi-level marketing company. So if you focus your attention on helping other people get what they want, you will eventually get what you want too. So it relates to coaching. It relates to selling people health products or doing something of value. It doesn't matter what it is. But when you contribute towards something, it will come back to you. Good will come back to you. That goodwill will flow in your direction as well. So if you create goodwill, eventually the money will follow. You can get anything you want in life by helping others get what they want in life, right? Now, in order to find out what people want, you have to find out what they value, right? So, for example, I'm working with somebody, well, I work with several people in the health industry. And for them, they look for the pain point, literally, actually, the pain point in somebody's life. You know, are you getting old and cranky? Are you overweight? Are you in pain of some kind? Do you look in the mirror and hate what's happening as you get older? Whatever it is, there's all sorts of stuff to do with health. And there's no point in trying to promote a weight loss product to somebody who's in pain. And there's no point trying to promote a pain relieving cream to somebody whose real issue is the fact that they're overweight. So you need to find what is of value to them, and then you offer it to them, right? Now, going back to our iron bar, if you are an iron bar in your business, you have the potential to become a horseshoe worth $12, or a needle worth $3,500, or a watch spring. Now, you know people out there who are watch springs, you know people out there who are horseshoes, and you know people out there who are needles. And they chose to do what they do in their business. Now, as I've said before, I have an MLM company, and I've had people come to me and want to work with me, and they haven't even been horseshoes. They've been iron bars. They've had hardly any value at all in that business. I've done my best. I've tried to help them get to where they wanted to be. Some of them didn't even know where they wanted to be. And that's how the coaching thing developed. But I've had people join me who've turned into watch springs, right? It's their choice. Ultimately, it's your choice. So let's put that in perspective. There's a thing to put on the screen here now. There are some words. You need to look at your value. Your own value is determined by what you're able to make of yourself. That's not the only thing. So your own value is determined also by what you are able to make of yourself. Will you be an iron bar? Will you be a horseshoe or a needle or a watch spring? Now, in my view, it's a process. I know that with an iron bar, it doesn't become a horseshoe and then become a needle and then become a watch spring, but a human being does. A human being goes through those steps, I believe. So if you want to be a watch spring, be a horseshoe, be a needle. I'm sure there are loads of other things in between as well. And you will eventually become a watch spring. The way to do that is to get in your mind really clear about what your value is to the community, and then find the people who value what your value is and give it to them. Do it for them, whatever it is that you have. And your value is going to be something you're extremely good at, that you might not even think has any value, but it does to somebody. And hopefully it's also something that brings you joy. So something you're really good at, something that you love doing, that somebody else wants. Now, I know it might not be obvious to you what it is that you love doing, or how you could turn that into something that could generate some income for you. So if you want to sit down with me for 45 minutes to talk about it and hammer out a plan for free, please reach out. You can reach me, you can email me at andrea@myhomebiz.tips, or you can just go to the website myhomebiz.tips and you can send me a comment, or you can subscribe to the newsletter to hear a little bit more. And there's always a link at the bottom. There is a calendar that you can jump onto for a brainstorming session. And by the end of it, you will have a plan. Doesn't necessarily mean you'll be working with me, but you will have a plan. You'll have something to do, steps to take, because it's not always easy, especially if you have a passion, but you don't quite know how to monetize it. So the first step is to actually think about what value you can create and what it is that you love to do. And the second step, and this is the most important step, is to get outside your comfort zone. Because, and this comes from the training that I did last week, as do the pictures that I shared with you today, actually. Your comfort zone, I was told, is where your dreams go to die. Your comfort zone is where your dreams go to die. That means that you have to push outside your comfort zone. You have to do things that are going to be uncomfortable. And when I'm working with people, I push them a little bit at a time. And I ask them to do things and they go, well, I can't do that. And we practice. We sometimes role play. And then they go and do it. And you know what they really often say? Gosh, that wasn't as bad as I was expecting. And then once they've done it, they can go and do it again and again and again. And they get better at it. And then after a while, they're falling off a log doing it. It's that easy. And they're creating more and more value. So you are an iron bar. You're a blank sheet. You can be anything you want to be. What you need to do is find out what that is. And I know that sounds silly. Find out what it is. What is your passion? What can you do really well? What thing is it that people have been telling you all your life? Oh, you're so good at that. Doesn't matter what it is. Find it. And then step outside your comfort zone to make that your thing. Push beyond the boundaries of what you think is possible. Turn yourself into hundreds of watch springs, because that increases your value in an insane way. I mean, $5, $300,000. I worked with a coach who was, I think she was a croupier at some point. She worked in a casino. She took lots of drugs because she was really skinny because she didn't get hungry. And she wasn't a particularly valuable person. And I'm not saying that against her. That is the story she tells of herself. She transformed herself. She made a decision one day that she was going to do it. And she looked for ways to do it. And she started to do things that were interesting, things other people hadn't done before. She now runs a business which is going into 9 figures. That's a lot more than $300,000. Her value has grown dramatically. Now she's an exception. So probably is Tony Robbins, Brendan Burchard, Zig Ziglar himself. I don't know all of their stories, but they were all steel bars at some point. And they're beyond watch springs, not just watch springs for a Timex or a Seiko. They're watch springs for Rolex, right? They're golden watch springs for Rolex. So all you have to do is figure out what it is you want to do and then step outside your comfort zone and get it done. And if talking to me and brainstorming what the steps might be would be helpful to you, email me at andrea@myhomebiz.tips or go to the website myhomebiz.tips. There's a form there. In fact, there's a calendar link. You can just book an appointment. You can send a message saying, I don't know if it's even worth talking to you. You can start an email conversation. You can message me through the Facebook page. I'm very easy to get in touch with. And I'm really happy to spend 45 minutes or so with you brainstorming how you can turn your joy, your passion, your thing you're good at into something that is so valuable that people will pay you lots of money to do it for them, to help them, to support them, because you are providing value to them. Okay? And I'll teach you how not to underestimate the value that you have. Okay, sermon is over for today. I'm going to have another slurp of my coffee, my breakfast, while I see if anyone has any questions. Okay, so yes, if you do a brainstorming session with me, it is free. I don't charge for it. And at the end of it, you will have a plan and know you're not committed to working with me. But we can do it by email as well. Or you can ask what to look for or what to read. Maybe I've written a blog post or done a video that I think would be helpful that I can refer you to. My value comes in helping people grow their businesses. So if the idea of helping you grow your business has value to you, let me help you. And as you know, I'm always out there learning more, and I'm always wanting to share what I learn with you. So think of the iron bar. It doesn't matter if you are an iron bar or a horseshoe or a needle, you can be a watch balance spring. Okay, that's it for this morning. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Take care until then. Bye-bye.